Smash Factor.
Ripping driver, going for it. Oh my goodness. How about that tee shot?
That is crazy how far that is.
Wow. John Daly, take a back seat, big fella. How about that drive?
That's an aggressive line. Man, that is beyond long.
Look at this. He's just driven the green. He has just driven the green.
I guess hello world, huh?
Welcome everybody to week 37 on the PGA 2021-2022 tour. The final major is here. The Open Championship over at St. Andrews. Been a long season. We still got a lot more to go after this, but definitely this is one of my favorite events of the year, and very close to between this and probably the Masters on what would be my favorite major overall. I enjoy probably just the uniqueness of this for, you know, us Americans, if you want to call it like that. You know, we don't get much golf, you know, kind of overnight in the morning, especially on the weekends. And as my kids are getting a little more, you know, aware of watching it and stuff like that, kind of fun to, you know, this week get them up a little early or stay up late, however you want to look at it. You know, the Masters is still, I think, when it gets down to that season, you know, maybe that's just because we go so long without, you know, that kind of golf. You know, we'll hear it with July 11th, and the Masters will be in April, and we got FedEx Cup, you got all that kind of stuff. But when Augusta comes, they start playing the commercial, you know, month or two out, it really gets you, you know, going to it. So there's a big buildup, whereas this is coming, you know, we just had the U.S. Open, 4 weeks ago. But overall, you know, also because it's completely different golf, right, than what we see all day, every day, you know, over here in the States. You know, we saw some of it last week, obviously, with the Scottish Open, not quite true links test, but, you know, very similar, you know, dealing with the wind, you know, different kind of conditions, bunkers are different, the grass is different, you know, the sand-based type stuff is different. So definitely looking forward to the week. Loaded field with everybody. We will find out if this is the final major for some of these guys. A lot of rumors going around that. Not going to waste a lot of time on that, but just enjoy this great tournament as we have it, and we'll let everything else play out as it can. We'll do a little recap real quick, and then we'll get straight into the Open. DFS, my main was just it wasn't anything great. I had a couple runners Sunday. You know, some of my guys, I had a few 6 of 6s. I was a little bit over the field on 6 of 6s. Wasn't hard to be last week. But I just couldn't get, you know, the right combo of the guys to all do the same thing. I had a really nice one that until I think Rose shot 8 over, I think it was round 3. It may have been round 4, but he kind of hurt that one. The rest of it finished pretty solid. But I had a great showdown week. And I think that could probably be said this week coming up as well, that we get all the different conditions, some clear advantages on waves. And this week waves will be defined as a little bit different, but, you know, take advantage of overreaction type stuff. We do that every week on Showdown, but I definitely think last week we had some spots there that looked nice. I won a 4-4, 4-4 ticket. Had a good Sunday. Really thought I was gonna have a great Sunday, and at the end, my best lineup that was flirting with some more 4-4 tickets and potentially taking down the 555. I had Spieth. I think it had Jordan Smith, and I had Palmer. Palmer really didn't get going at all. Spieth, obviously, you know, you double right there at the end, and then he misses the short putt on 17. They could have gave him, I think, back-to-back birdies after the double. And every point kind of seemed to matter. We still had a good week. I mean, good profitable week, and then good profitable Sunday. But man, when you're right there, you know, on verge of getting ticket number 2 or maybe 3, I was inside the top 5 of 2 of them. There were a few holes to go, and that was with the complete Xander fade on Sunday, which for the most part worked out. I can't remember, he wound up shooting even, I think, or maybe -1 overall. But I think we may see some of that this week again. So showdowns be big. You know, I'll be covering them every night. The nice thing, the good and bad about them, you know, the data's, I mean, not really the data, but everything's done so early in the afternoons that, we kind of get time to get them out. But you got to get everything in that night because, it's locking again overnight. But Showdown was great. DFS main, I think I got about 40% back of what I put in. So overall, still up on the week. Looking forward to having a bullet in the 4444 this week. Betting, man, it's just I'll update like I have been doing on Wednesdays, how everything went. I hadn't had an outright since the API, I believe. In that one, I think it was Scheffler after round 2. I got him 100-1, but not sure I was ever going to get to like Xander. So, I mean, Scheffler, obviously I hit the live number, but when you get, he's 1-4, Burns is 1-3, Xander's 1 now 2, plus the Zurich, but he was 9 or 10-1 to win the Zurich, I think, with Cantley. But I just don't fish down in those seas very often. Now Burns, there's some decent Burns numbers out there, especially earlier in the year. So I'm not going to put him in that category per se. But a lot, that's a lot. I mean, that's 6-7 wins right there between some of those and some of the other lower number guys that I just don't get down to. But it's still no excuse on my part. Got to find a winner. I don't think I'd have got to Xander at his number last week. So I can't. Had a little bit with Cantley on Sunday. I mean, he gave me hope starting out on fire. I didn't know if he was going to be able to post a number because I kind of thought Xander, went +2 and then, what was he, 9 under, Friday and Saturday. So I didn't know I never really got my hopes up on Cantley because, he was already 4 under through 7 or something like that. And I was like, I thought he would have had to get to like 10. I thought Xander was going to probably post a 2 or a 3 under. So I didn't get there. I did add Fleetwood and Kim as they were kind of on all, I think 8-9. Still had some decent numbers out there on both of them. 35-1 on Fleetwood, I think, and I think 70-1 on Kim. A little bit of hope there that they could kind of close it. Fleetwood looked like he was going to, he had a solid chance for sure, but he couldn't get it done. But, it's just been kind of a weird year. I still have 5 winners and 7 first-round leaders on this season. It just seems like it's been such a, and we hit some top 20s and top 40s here recently that's kind of kept the bleeding for not being too bad. And the matchups, been decent. I don't know how this week was. It's been, anytime we have this crossover with the major, you kind of, you're shifting your focus so quick that, but I'll recap it all on Wednesday like I normally do. Shout outs. We had a ton of stuff in the Gups Corner GC Warrior Room Slack yesterday afternoon. Scotty Man hits again, back-to-back, takes down the $150 3 max. So another 5-figure day for him overall. Super happy for him. Hopefully he can roll some of that. Do bankroll management, roll into a good final major of the year for him. Kingway Neo ships the $100 single entry for $10K. Awesome week for him. Congrats there. I'm Guilt 5th, and I think the $200 single entry is what he was. It was $50K to first, and he got $7,500 for the 5th place there. OG John, he stays hot. He's just been constantly crushing for about the last month. Corey Byram had a great weekend in Showdown. Cleared $1,250 just on weekend and Showdowns alone. I think round 4 Showdown and weekend. So lots of good green screens there. It was a good week overall. Anytime you kind of have that dock of the week type of thing go off, you hope for there's just not a lot of people that are going to go to, what was he? I don't know. We want to be like 1 or 2%. I get Tom Kim or Ju Young Kim, whatever people want to call him. And he was the dock of week call. You don't want to feel like you wasted it because there's a lot of people in the Slack that did well, and I used him again on Sunday, and he did well there, and so did Kitayama. So he helped, and I think he was in my Friday lineup as well with the one, the 4-4-4-4. I know I took Xander on the bounce back because of the +2, and I think he shot 5 under, but it's such a low 6-6, man. Getting those right bullets together was definitely hard, but community did well. We're up on the week. We're rolling into the final major and have some fun. British 30% off right now, includes a 7-day risk-free trial. So you can get this whole week free if you want, and then just cancel. You never get charged if you don't want to. Hopefully you do, and you enjoy what you see. I'll have full coverage there. I'm recording this around lunchtime Monday. I'll have this out early Monday evening. I travel all day Tuesday, and as I'm coming back, that's when I'll probably watch. I think tomorrow is going to be big on the pressers, listen to the guys, how they think it's playing. Obviously, we think firm, fast. We'll get into all that here in a little bit, but, that's going to be huge. This is a week like you want to take all the information in and be prepared, but you almost got to kind of build or have things set on 2 or 3 different scenarios so you're not taken by scramble mode there at the last minute, especially with it locking, overnight, Wednesday night into Thursday morning. It'll be, I think, 1:15 my time, Central Time, so maybe 2:15 Eastern Time or something like that. So you want to be prepared, but you also don't want to rush. So like last week, I didn't put in my betting card till late, and had a few guys DM me, and I said, hey, I don't want to. You want to get all pot committed, and then you see a glaring wave draw, and like half your card is dead or potentially dead, or your player pool is just torn to pieces, and you're like, oh man, I only got so many hours, I got to redo everything now. So it's definitely one of those weeks that I take my time on that, but you still got to be fully prepared. But I do like listening to the guys a lot on weeks like this, and trying to take little bits and pieces of what they're saying and build that into how we think we should attack come, Wednesday mid-afternoon. We're trying to lock all these things up. Rate and review us on iTunes. I will do all the giveaways Wednesday on the pod. I've been doing them every major. We'll have probably some cash. We'll have GC gear. I got PGA Championship stuff, Master stuff still. Probably give all that away and get us cleaned out for the year, and then re-up some stuff next year when we get back. Obviously, I'll be doing football and all that kind of stuff, but I'm just saying, as far as golf goes, rate and review gets you into the drawings, and then subscribe to this YouTube channel. Like the video. In the comment section today, tell me who you want to play in the 9K range, not named Xander. So I think Xander probably, rightfully so, would be the highest owned or picked. So outside of him, who do you want to play in the 9K range? And that'll get you into the drawing for Wednesday. Listener League is up. It'll be in the description. 500 spots this week, 1K to first, 3 max only. Go ahead and get in there, get that filled up. Last week's winner was just a little 126, had 405 points. Really unique lineup. I liked it a lot. Hopefully he had in some other things. Rahm, Spieth, Xander, which kind of was like, man, that's not unique. But then he went Zanotti, Zodenberg, and Harding. So a very, got his 3 American kind of studs, and then went, here's the guys that I kind of think can fit in these pieces, with some Euro ties and stuff like that. So really liked his build. Solid 6 of 6, 405 points. Good job there. He has already accepted the invite to the Listener League end of the year stuff. I need to figure out what week we want to do that. It'll probably be probably the same week like they do the Fantasy Golf World Championship or something. That always seems like the last biggest golf event before football gets going. As I mentioned, everybody knows we're at St. Andrews Old Course, par 72, 2 par 5s, 2 par 3s, 14 par 4s. Kind of a unique deal there. Kenny's got the full breakdown. His pod, I think, already came out. I kind of catch up on all that later on in the afternoon into tomorrow overnight, and I'll be driving in the morning for 3 or 4 hours, so I get to do a lot of pod listening then. So I've been saving them for that. It'll come down to kind of, we talked about the wind, which right now, the weather, I don't see a true advantage at all. We do, like I mentioned earlier, we do have to think about everybody goes off one. So, some cases it can be, this is kind of, I think one of the first years I ever did the heat maps was you don't get that clear. Okay. All these 80 guys are going out, or 75 guys, 76 guys are going out between, 6:30 or 7 and 9. And then these 76 are going out between noon and 2:30 or something like that. Everybody goes off one. It just goes constantly all day long. So truly seeing the tee times, the draw, the weather, and it may not have an advantage at all, but waiting for all that to come out before you kind of get pot committed to anything, I think will be huge this week. And that's how I've always treated these kind of events. Even this more so than last week. Last week you still kind of had a true draw AM PM. You won't really have that this week. It'll just be more of what time pockets, if any, there may not be any, look the best. Or maybe we go these two, let's break it into quarters, a fourth, a fourth, a fourth, a fourth, and maybe there's 2 that are strong, and you can build in there. It may not be any. We may just say, hey, this looks like a pretty fair weather draw, and go to work. Kenny's full breakdown will be on the site. That's always good to read. The things I've picked up just listening to coverage, some last night, Sunday night doing research is it's been dry there more than usual. So expecting firm and dry conditions. The one thing I picked up on last night watching, I think it was live on PGA, and it seems consistent so far that no matter how the wind may pick up and that kind of deal, it looks like, again, this is, I listened to it last night. It may have already changed today. The wind direction is not really going to change all week, which that has as big of impact sometimes as the strength of the winds. When you're like, oh, it's out of the east this day, west this way, then we get north wind and the course is playing completely different. The holes are playing, the only advantage to that is at least by day 3 or 4, the guys that do make it through, they kind of know how it's going to play. Now all this could change by Wednesday. We know that, but you don't hear that a lot where they're talking about, well, it's going to pretty much be the same, southwest to west wind all week long. Right now, I was listening a little bit on my lunch as I was prepping this. It looks like, at least the first 2 days, which is all we really care about to start with, but 10 to 20 mile an hour with some gust and no real pocket of, craziness. So, I don't know if that means it's going to play. I do think the firmness and all that will still make it tough. You still got to hit the golf shots. Things will roll out. It definitely could bring some people in that you may not think. I don't know that I go full like bomber and all that. To me, I don't want to say use gut only, but stats matter to an extent this week. I definitely bring them in and look at them. But there's so many of those stats you're looking at that are on, all right, hit this off of a, flush lie 140 in. It's not going to be when you're 140 in there and you got winds, cross winds or something like that. Even if it's only 10 or 20, hard, firm, you got to land it short, let it roll. It's totally different golf shots out there. And so, experience matters just in general. But it doesn't mean you can't win. Obviously, we saw Morikawa last year win his first time out at the Open, at least. So, I would caution to say, hey, man, if you feel something or feel like this guy's just got a chance this week, and maybe he doesn't rate out the best or anything, I wouldn't put that away too far. These stats are great. I'm analytical, but I also like to use my eye test on some stuff and things like that. And I do think how people have played in the past matters a little bit, maybe not everything, but I think putting all that together this week is kind of how we'll make those final pools. And then the ultimate thing at the end will be, is there big ownership leverages? You just go, hey, I'll take a chance on anything at, early guy that you can probably see being low owned would be like Hovland. He's just been continuous to not play well. And maybe he's lower there. Some of these live guys like DJ, Brooks, Bryson, maybe you go there. Ownership I won't use as much this week to take full stands because I'm already going to be building a certain way depending on how things look as we get more of the weather and all that kind of stuff. And so I like to go at it as between now and, Wednesday, probably mid-morning. I'm going to do a lot of stuff tonight because I got to travel tomorrow for business, but getting my pools together, I'm really just going to get the guys that I think I like no matter what. And then you kind of have to have where you can pivot. You got to be able to pivot this week and be ready. It'll be uncomfortable at times, but if everything stands as now, I'm sorry, all right, well, my pool's good how it is. If we get information and then, all of a sudden now Thursday afternoons, it's going to be windy as heck. Okay, well now I at least have my pool and then go, all right, who do I got to pull someone in? I got to pull someone out. Do I pivot? Or do I still have enough in the pool that I like that's my core? And then we look at the wave advantage or, the draw advantage, and go that way. So I think being flexible this week is going to be key. And not so much locked in, ready to go, don't care what happens type of deal. See how it goes. Cut. I think it'll be -1, -2. Or it's early. Again, I who knows? We'll see how things look. As it looks to me, I think, and I think they'll be able to score. And you may have 1 or 2 guys pull away because we've kind of seen that before. But I kind of think, I think 14 to 16 under is right there. Could be, it's kind of been somewhere even when, they've had good scoring conditions before. But even when they've had them before, when we're talking about like a little more modern times, we've had in the last 7 held here, which is all 1990s and later, you've had 4 guys win by 5 strokes, 8 strokes, 5 strokes, 7 strokes, and you've had 2 playoffs in that time. So where you might see a, Tiger won at 14 under, well, he won by 5 strokes. So the entire rest of the field was in single digits type of deal. Usti, 16 under. He won by 7 strokes. So again, the entire rest of the field was in single digits. So I don't think I'm going to buy too much into the narrative of 20 under more wins. 20 or under may win it, but I think the majority of the field and the top 20 numbers are still going to be single digit for the most part, is my personal opinion. And mainly because we keep hearing firm and dry so far. There's a little bit of sprinkle rain in the forecast throughout, a couple days, but nothing crazy. Because if this was soft, I think we could have, almost a birdie fest on our hand, because guys could just, with the way that everything else is, that just makes it that much easier. With it being firm and fast, even though you're not going to have crazy wind, they still have to, be unique going into the green, stuff like that, strategize, hit the ball in the right place, don't get in the bunkers. Obviously that's a common theme. And so I think that there's enough strategy there in the golf course. Yeah, we'll probably get in the teens, but I don't know if we get more than, 5 to 9 guys up there in double digits. I think top 20 is still going to be in a single digit type number. Not like last week. I mean, man, I thought, well, get out the gates. Tringali's 9 under. I thought everybody, I was like, man, this is going to be even more of a scoring than I kind of thought. And I thought it was on the higher end. In the winter, wound up being whatever Xander finished, 7 or 8 under. So, I mean, the winds came up obviously Thursday, Friday, but they let down a little bit Saturday and Sunday, and it's still hard to score, and especially the putting part, right? And that's what they talked about a lot Sunday. Even though the conditions were a lot better, it was still difficult to, for those guys to lag putt correctly and all that. And you're still going to see some of that this week, especially here. Three putt avoidance is going to be key. As I mentioned, some recent winners, different courses, of course. No pun intended, but Morikawa, Lowry, Molinari, Spieth, Stinson, Zach Johnson, Rory, Phil, Usti, Sink. Then obviously way back you had Tiger, then Harrington, back to back. So just some of the guys that have won on my rankings. I have the courses that they won on, if you want to go check that out. Stats I'm looking at, again, like I said, I'm looking at kind of overall picture this week. Not only because of the way the course is going to set up and the field's going to set up and all that, but it is a major championship test, and in general the cream rises to the top type of deal. So you're really looking for who are those few guys that may be mispriced or may have that upside that can really help us, and just hope you get the top right, because you're splitting hairs on many of these guys. So I'm not saying I'm not worried about the guys up there, or I'll have clear places I want to go, but it's really going to be about that full build this week. I'm looking at good drives, stroke gain irons, which will bring approach and around the green in, opportunities inside 18 feet, bogey avoidance, which will be key, par 4 DK scoring and par 5 DK scoring. The reason why, I know there's only 2 par 5s, but as we hear and we've heard that potentially, if the winds are the way we think they could be in the firm and fast, a lot of these par 4s could wind up playing drivable or close to it. So in my mind, I'm like, all right, well, a drivable par 4 to me would represent a scoreable par 5. So I don't want to, I got par 5. I got par 4 DK scoring in my mix too, because there's 14 of them. But, if there's 4 to 6 that some guys can, be, trying to go for a par 5 and 2, for instance, maybe you miss short or long or left, but you're right there with the chippable eagle chance and putting. So my mind is like, all right, if you're driving the ball to a par 4, I'm going to bring more of the par 5 in and look at that. Not because there's a ton of par 5s here, but if we have that many potential par 4 scoring, that I think that's a way to look at it a little bit differently this week. Salary ranges 10K, 6, 9K, 9, 8K, 10, 7K, 42, 6K. It'll be in the 80s. I don't think any of the late ads will get up in the 7K. We'll see. If someone withdraws, I don't really know who's up first on the alternate list, but either way, it's still going to be in the 80s for the 6K. So a lot, just like last week, very, very similar to last week. Sweet 16, typical format here, but I do add an extra bubble in there just because we are talking the major. And we actually got a pretty big field, 156 guys. Then I'll give fade of the week. I got 2 potential there. Sleeper of the week. I got 2 potential there. Then I have 5 gut fill plays instead of 4. Betting, and then we'll wrap it up, get out of here. Be back Wednesday for my final thoughts, and then Wednesday probably early evening with Kenny, because we'll have to time it so you guys still have time to kind of think and discuss and all that kind of stuff before building that night, because it'll lock, like I said, overnight. 9K and above. Rory is the guy. He's number 1 in the model. a good record lately, not great, but a fifth, a fourth, a second, and then a missed cut in a 46th, the last two. A fifth at the U.S. Open, 19th at Travelers. Did not play, obviously, John Deere or the Scottish. He's just going to be there. I don't know. You know my opinion on highest owned and highest priced. I think he gets ownership for sure. I don't know how high ownership he gets because I don't know when people start constructing. And again, I'm going on the premises that Xander's going to be the highest owned of the week at 9,900, just because. And this aggravates me with DraftKings sometimes because, they put out pricing, I think Tuesday, of last week. If they want to get it out early, I get it. They do that with NFL Week 1. They'll put it out sometime probably here in the next few weeks. I'm sure they have rhyme and reason and algorithms that tell them that gets people more into the contest. But either way, you kind of wish they'd wait a little bit. But it is what it is. We're all playing the same price. The problem with him being 99 isn't like, well, he can't win for a third straight time, right? So we can't play him. He doesn't have to win. He could top 10, and maybe has an extra eagle or something compared to someone else, and whatever, top 15, and still be in that winning lineup at 9,900. He's not Rory's price or anything like that. So if you fade him this week, you're going to gain a lot of leverage for sure. He'll be even higher up, like in the 4-4-4-4 stuff like that. Do I think he's fadeable? Sure. Is it hard to win 3 in a row? Absolutely, but it's hard to win 2. Plus, he won the Pro-Am. We saw Scheffler go on his run, and even before that, he was having good 14th at the U.S. Open. So his history. But if you go there, it does start to get a little difficult to go like Rory Xander, especially because I do think people like Spieth. I think people love the 9Ks this week, and maybe some of the 8s. And so if you start like a Rory Xander, you almost have to go all 7s and then a 6 maybe, or maybe you like a couple 6s or something like that. So I think it keeps some of that ownership. It's kind of like we saw last week. I said to everybody, I know when I did my initial stuff, Tuesday night or whatever, I think I had one guy above 20%. I think that's how it ended. Rahm got seamed up, and I think Xander dropped a little bit last week, but I think we'll see somewhere similar to that because you just can't mathematically make all that fit when you bring in the pricing. It's one of the things I see when people do mess up potential ownership stuff is I'll look at some of the ownerships across the board, and I'm like, well, mathematically it doesn't work. Now, I don't know how people have algorithms, all their stuff. I have my own process and my own stuff to make sure that I'm balanced to say mathematically these ownerships work with the pricing, because it gets it more realistic and more in tune. Because we could all say, well, these guys are all going to be popular. Well, that's fine, but with a 50,000 salary cap and 6 guys, that can't all have that much ownership, if you know what I mean. But so I like Rory. I think he'll be talked up for sure. And maybe he is the highest up there. I'm not 100% there yet. Probably could be. JT with kind of maybe he has a flop lag this week. He could be up there. Morikawa's defending champ. Rahm's always popular. We just saw it last week. He made the cut again, didn't do much, 55th. But he's got in the 3rd and 11th, his last 2 Opens. So, and then Spieth. I think Spieth will be up there. He continues, did well last week, got 10th, and that's really, he fell back to 10th over the last 3 or 4 holes. Was right there able to, I thought he was the one that was going to push Xander to the limit, and just kind of fell back. And he's got a great, Open resume. So, you start getting all those kind of guys. I think Rory, let's call it 16 to 19%. I don't mind that. Now, he'll probably be higher up, and when we start getting into the 88 snowmen and stuff, I think he may have a little more ownership. But I do like Rory this week, 11,100. I like Fitzpatrick, and this seems like a guy. I told you I don't play a lot. I didn't play him at all at the Open, or the U.S. Open, sorry. 6 last week. I kind of see him being squeezed because of, like I just said, Spieth 10,000, Xander 99. Unless you start builds where you're starting with Spieth, or you go Xander, Fitz, and down. If you want to get a 10K guy, and those guys are going to be fairly popular. When I say squeeze, I think he'll be owned, but not as high as what he could be if he had fallen a little different in the pricing, or Xander wouldn't come in white hot, that type of stuff. You got Cam Smith, who, probably 2 months ago, we all kind of, you heard a lot of rumbling about, man, he'll be so good at St. Andrews. He's great around tricks around the green, all that kind of stuff, similar to Spieth. and he had a 10th last week at the Scottish. So a lot of guys there that are popular. That's why I asked who's going to be the most popular in or who do you like the most in 9K if you put Xander to the side. But I could go to Fitz. Now, if he winds up being the guy up there, like the second highest behind Xander, I don't know that I get there. I don't mind moving to Cam Smith, any of those guys, Cantley, Lowry. They're all right there. In my mind, I think he kind of fits in that. And Willie Z's right underneath him for $100. He continues to get ownership. We'll see how he falls in this week coming off the missed cut. I'd love for Willie Z to lose some steam this week and kind of jump down to that 12, 13%. But I'm really interested to see how that shakes out. But I like Fitz, 9,700. I like Spieth, 10,000. So I do like Spieth. I wouldn't mind going to him up there. I don't mind fading, and we'll get to in a little bit, Rahm or JT. And then Scheffler, I like him. He missed the cut last week, maybe that gets enough people off of him. He's finally not the highest priced. So a lot of people just say, well, I just pay $100 more for Rory. Scheffler's probably the one that is on the bubble for me. What do I do with him? Got an 8th last year at Royal St. George. Don't mind him at all, but I think if I go Spieth, I don't mind starting builds with Spieth. He just continues in these kind of environments to do really well. Did good here in 2015, if I remember right. Yeah, T4, one back of the playoff with ZJ, Leishman, and Usti. So I don't mind going there. Again, that'll be up top for me. Will be really about where's everybody seem to be going ownership wise and what the leverage is. Much more of a Wednesday conversation than now. But those are the ones I like out the gate. Bubble boys for me, it's Xander, and that's only because of ownership. At what point does his ownership get to a point where I go, all right, I'm just going to take the chance that he just exhausted or whatever. He's got back-to-back wins and rolling high, and he just kind of has a dud week. Or do you just keep wanting to get overweight on that? But if you do, how do you get unique in those type of situations? That's a deeper conversation once we get to there. I do have him on the bubble boy because I do like him, but I fairly confident he'll be the highest on the entire slate. And then Scheffler was my other bubble boy because he's a guy up there. If I'm going to play 3 in the 10K range, I'm more talking MME type stuff. Right now, it'd be Rory, Spieth, and Scheffler for me. 8K range, Finau, I do kind of expect him to get a little love this week. But $8,400, I am kind of interested to see how the 8K range turns out in general. Because there's so much love in the 9K range that I see coming. And then obviously your big boys up top in the 10K, that it's going to be hard to get those 8s in. I think that's where you could be unique. If you start with, a 9 and maybe Spieth or 2 9s, 2 8s, that kind of deal could be a little bit different this week. The 8s in general could get squeezed some. There's some in there that people aren't going to touch at all. We know that for sure. So when you are in the 8s, it's going to constrict that ownership down a little bit more, which I think Finau will be up there. But man, his last 5 opens: 18th, 27th, 9th, 3rd, and 15th. It's hard to argue against that. Did miss a cup at the U.S. Open. I had him there, and I want to say he missed it on the number. Oh yeah, that's right. He wound up missing it. I think he went +5 at the end. We thought it was going to be +4. But he went bogey to finish, and an ugly bogey at the end. But miscut at the Open, 13th at the Travelers. Bounce back week, did good. He's second in bogey avoidance, second in par 4 scoring, 39th in par 5 scoring, 13th in irons, 22nd in good drives. I was like everything about it, and I love 5 straight top 27 or betters with 2 top 10s, 3 top 15s. So, but everybody's gonna see that. So again, how popular does he get and where can we pivot? But I do like him as we sit here on a Monday lunchtime. Neiman, AK. If he gets popular, it hurt me because I do like him so much. Just in general, I play him a lot. Stat-wise, he looks great. But again, I'm not putting a lot into that this week. Scottish, he did finish 16th. Couldn't get it going ever. He never could pick up the steam and get on a birdie run. But grinded out, good finish. Miscut of the Travelers, 47th at the U.S. Open. Hasn't had the best Open experience, miscut and 59th. But if there's a constant win, 10 to 20 like they're talking about, it's not going to be maybe as crazy as what some would hope for, the big 35 mile an hour type stuff, but still playing that win will be big. And I think, he's got the ball flight to do well in it. 8,000. I like that price. Next up, Usti. I do wonder if by Wednesday he winds up turning into almost a fade, because I wonder if he's the guy that everybody thinks no one's going to have and he's priced up, but then by the time we get to Wednesday, everybody's going to be on him because he's 8,800. You know, he won here. He's done well at the Opens in general. He does well at the majors in general. He's done okay on live. I think he's got 2 top 8s for whatever that matters at this point. But he has a game for this, and so 8,800. Maybe there's enough, again, back to what I talked about earlier with the 9 and 10K range. He's a guy that maybe just go, all right, I just won't play him. But I do think he could get steamed up by Wednesday. I kind of have that earmarked. But as of now, he's the third guy I like for sure. Burns is a bubble boy for me. I just worry about his upside. He hit a 76 last year. That was his first Open. Made the cut this week on the number. Didn't do anything on the weekend. 66 was his final. I think he shot 5 over on the weekend. And a lot of it was putting. And so I wonder about how does he struggle on putting here? Does the wind and the lag putting, that kind of stuff bother him? Stat wise, again, he's another guy that's going to look good in that area. 27th at the U.S. Open though. So, he may wind up being a great leverage play by the time we get to Wednesday. So I got him there as a bubble boy to keep an eye on. And then Fleetwood for me is a bubble boy only because of ownership. I think with the way he finished, his history over there, just in general, $8,600, great price. He can fit in to a lot of different builds. Last 4 at the Open: 27th, 12th, 2nd, 33rd, a 4th last week. The thing with him, I think I like a Fleetwood if we do believe more that single digit gets you into the top 20, potentially top 10, and we're talking 14, 15 under kind of wins it. At least for me, the way I look at those kind of things. But I just wonder what the ownership would be, especially with this finish on Sunday. That's why he's a bubble boy. I do like him, but if I don't see a lot of these AK guys getting just stupidly owned. So I think you may be able to pick the few you want to go with in your pool, depending on how many lineups you're doing. What is there? 10 guys. If you're picking three of them, if you're building, maybe 50 lineups or something, it just depends on how your pool's going. But I think you won't have to worry about too much of getting a lot of leverage in this 8K range. Me personally, that's how I think it right now. 7K range, I'm going to go back to Mito. The game log watchers would look at him and be like, man, he's been playing horrible. And he literally, missed cut on the number at the Open, at Travelers. Last week, he's, I think, 4 under or something like that going into round 2 and just, man, he got a bogey train, could not get off. I think he shot 10 over. And it wasn't like a bloody number anywhere in there. I think I still had the he was in my bullet, so I was paying, originally I wasn't paying much attention because I thought, oh yeah, he shot 4 under and then 11 over. But his round 2 was bogey, bogey, double, bogey, bogey, double, bogey, 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 with a few pars mixed in. So a couple doubles, yes, but just bogey after bogey after bogey that, who knows what happened there. But the thing that makes me a little more, and I haven't mentioned this far in the pod, I'd be surprised I haven't mentioned Willie Z or Cam Young, who are patented plays for me. But the fact that he does come out there and shoot the 66 to start, it gives me a little bit. I don't have to worry as much about like, man, does he not like it over there? Is his first time playing? Maybe I don't know. Maybe he had, all the different things you can kind of anecdotally think about. I just call it a bad day, a bad Friday, and move on. He's been right there on the number. Maybe that makes his ownership super low, but at 7,300, especially in this kind of tournament, man, give me a guy that can, grind out a cut and have top 30 or better upside. I like it a lot at that price. So I'll definitely go to Mito there. Reed, I'll go to Reed. I like Reed this week. Interested to see what he and a lot of these live guys, how they get treated in the industry and ownership type stuff. Seems like a great fit for him. I want to say he was up there in 2015 too, if I remember correctly. Let's try. Yeah, top 20. Shot 7 under. So $7,300. That's what I'm talking about. Like, that's a great. I'll take $7,300 guy getting me a top 20 and have a little bit more upside. So I'll go to Reed all day. I think all those guys will probably be a little lower on than they should be. And he's one I do like this week. Thigala, I kind of feel like with Thigala, Like Tikala's like when you look at him and watch him play, and I've watched a ton of him and been on him a lot. Like I don't know what he does well. He's just always right there, and so I'm figuring what St. Andrews where anything can kind of go. Like you just get there and get the ball in the hole. Like he feels like a ball in the hole type of guy. Like all right, I just know he's going to try to find a way to score and be there. He's coming in with great form at the 16th at John Deere, 2nd at the Travelers. Obviously doubled 18 to give it away to Xander, but you know. 5th in DK score, or I keep saying DK, par 5 DK scoring, 48th. I mean, all the stats, he's 48th or better, several 20, 30s in there. So, top third of the fourth of the field or better. That's more of a gut play. That's one of those plays when I was talking about at the beginning of the pod that's a play where I just go, I don't know what it is or what I like about him, but I do like him and I played him a lot. And this feels like a course where he's going to find a way to score. And be there. Yeah, it's probably his first time over on that kind of stuff. He didn't play the Scottish Open, so maybe he's got some practice in, getting used to it. Don't know. It could be horrible by the time we get to Friday night, but he's a guy I do like. Homa's a bubble boy for me just because I think he'll just probably be one of the highest owned 7K range, if not the highest. Was pretty popular last week, paid people off there. 7,900 is a really good price for him. He got a 16th at the Scottish, and that's with I think he was top 10 and bogeyed. I know he bogeyed 18, but maybe he bogeyed 1 or 2 coming in that dropped him because he was up in the top 5 for a little while. So was grinding right there. You saw the video and he went and played, another 18, I think after Friday's round or something. So it does stay daylight out there. That's why they can do everybody off the first tee. First is tradition for them, but they have so much daylight this time of the year. I think it doesn't get dark till like 9 or 10 over there. So that's why he's able to go play another 18. Obviously, he's trying to get as much. I don't know if he's just doing it because he loves golf or he's trying to get as much experience on that kind of, surfaces and stuff or what. But I like seeing that. I just wonder how much ownership he's going to bring in. And not that I'm not going to play all these guys that are owned. I will. It's just a matter of what mixture makes sense to me by the time we get to Wednesday. Then I like Rose. $7,400. His last 5. Nothing just great, but 3 top 20s, a 2nd place at Carnoustie, a 54th at Birkdale, 46th at St. George. Made the cut, didn't do much. Like I mentioned, he shot that horrendous round. I don't know what day it was because I was like, who was taking? Because I had a really nice 6 of 6. So Saturday, round 3, he shot 78 and then a 71. So 9 over on the weekend. It was -1 going into Saturday, which obviously turned out to be a good score. If he shoots even on the weekend, he top 16s it. So I don't mind him. Definitely don't mind him. I think he was another guy who was up there with Reed and Spieth and them in 2015 out here. T6. So he shot the same number he shot 11 under. So he was right behind Spieth. So I'll go there, $7,400. I don't think he'll get tucked up too much. Only reason why I Bubble Boy didn't like how he ended on the weekend, but he'd been showing some signs leading up to that 37th at the U.S. Open. I don't mind playing some Rose there, $7,400. 6K range. Obviously, Doc of the Week last week. Ju-Young Kim, Tom Kim. I'm afraid he'll be kind of that super talked up this week at 6,500. There's not a ton of great options in the 6K, but there's plenty others to go to that. I don't know if I want to play like a 12% him, but as of now, I'll just you still got to click the button, and I don't know how many people you start getting to it. See how that falls out, but had a great Sunday, finished 3rd. I liked him already going into it. Obviously, he was my Doc of the Week. I still like him this week, so I'm going to stick with that for now. We'll see how things shake out in the next 36 hours and see where we go with it. Hao Tong Lee, I liked last week as well. Had plenty of them. Made the cut, didn't do much, but a 55th. I'll take that. Open record, okay. He's kind of boomer bust there, but a 3rd, a 39th, and 2 missed cuts mixed in there. $6,900. I like the price. I think just like last week, made the cut, had a chance, didn't finish well, but has that upside. We've seen it before, and he looks like he's coming back. That's why I liked him last week. Looked like he's been showing more form than that top 50 guy in the world that we saw a few years ago compared to wherever he was at to start the year. But so I like him. I'll go back to him at 6,900. KH Lee 6,800. I like him as well. He may be a pivot if some of these other guys are highly talked about. I don't think he will be. He missed the cut, but didn't. I think he was the one I looked up earlier that had like. Let me pull up his card real quick. Yeah, I have it up right now. Like, he had four bogeys. So he had 7 bogeys and 2 birdies to shoot +5 and a ton of pars. So I was like, well, when I started diving into it, I was like, well, he didn't play horribly. He just didn't score any and just made a bunch of pars. So it wasn't like the one thing I like about it is the bogey avoidance type deal. He had a ton of, what are we talking about there? 7, 9, so 27 pars at that course where a lot of guys are blowing up left and right. I like that. He was coming in good form already. 37th and a 19th, 37th at the U.S. Open, 19th at Travelers. I'll go back to him at $6,800 all day. Don't mind that at all. Definitely like him. Could be a good pivot around some of what could be some popular guys. Bubble Boys, 2 more potential popular guys. And so Haotong $6,900, and these both are $6,900. I think KH $100 cheaper could be a good pivot. Keith Mitchell, who I didn't really play much of last week. I didn't know how he would work in that, putting and all that kind of stuff. He's missed 2 opens, missed cut on both, but looked good last week. Finished 36th. He's 6,900, 6th at the Travelers. So coming in with pretty good form. That's all you ask for those guys. Because of so many of these guys right here in 69, 6,800, some 7K flats that are intriguing. Does that ownership just get spread out and you can pick who you want to play? Maybe. But I like him. I think Kitayama at 6,900, obviously strong finish as well. I did play him. I didn't play any Mitchell last week, but I did play Kitayama. He finished. I think he finished solo second at the end of the day. But how owned will he be now? Is he going to be more talked up than Kim? Less talked up? They're $400 difference. All those guys together, I have them as bubble boys. Those 2, but those 5 I like, and I just find it hard that we'll see a lot of guys flirting with 10% or more in the 6K range, but see how it shakes out. But those are the 5 names that kind of stick out to me. Fade of the week, I already kind of mentioned earlier. It's going to be JT or Rom. I'll kind of see how things look, meaning I'm not going to play both. That's one move I've already made because I like the other guys, and I don't want 4 10K guys in my pool this week. There's too many other guys I like. So I'll kind of see how things shake out over until we get to Wednesday's final thoughts. One of those 2 guys will be one of my fades of the week, and I'm assuming both will be over 15%, which is kind of my parameter for that. Obviously, Morikawa is a guy I probably won't play at all, but I don't think a lot of people will. Maybe he gets a little bit of hype because of the winning last year. The problem with Morikawa is like his strength is strong iron game, and that's where he owns the field. And this is a more creative, unique. Put your ball in place. I think he likes to be able to fire it. Give me a number. I'm going to hit it 180. I'm going to stick it close to the pin where I don't have to putt. That's where I see his game going. And his stats the big ones I'm looking at this week, I know we're not talking about stats a whole lot. Like, he's the worst of them all by far. And so I know they burned me last year. I didn't have any of them last year either. But I don't see this course playing at all like last year's was. So we'll see, but JT Rahm's going to be owned, and that's why I didn't really say Morikawa, because I don't think he'll be like a popular. I mean, people may fade him, but I think he's going to be more of you could use him as leverage more than anything. So see how that comes out Wednesday. Sleeper of the weeks for me, I got 2. I like Seamus Power, 7,400. Don't know how much he'll be talked up. I feel like his game could fit well here. Obviously, I don't think he's ever played at the Open. It's coming in good form. A 12th at the U.S. Open, 25th at the Travelers. Everything I looked at, I really like him, and I think that 5% range could be, in the $7,400. There's a ton of popular players around there in 7,300, 7,500 type stuff. So I don't see him getting too popular. I like him, and I like Sergio. Tremendous, really good Open record. 5th, 37th, 67th, 19th. I think he was right up there. Yeah, he was shot the same number as Rose in 2015 here. Maybe in general, some of the guys that went full committed to live and all that you kind of get to the first major, then we kind of let things go. And now it seems to be pressed more to let the legality battles, the lawyers and everything get in it, and I'm just here to play golf now. My stuff's over. It's done. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of people caring when they're actually watching the golf, and these guys can just go play. And I just think the way he's coming in at 7,400, I'll play him, for sure. And because of that and everything else, I think he'll be lower owned than he should. And maybe he's not a sleeper. Maybe he's more talked up by the time we get there. But my opinion, if he was still on, the PGA Tour and been playing regularly and just say he's at halfway like he normally does, he's a great, tee to green player, but all comes down to putting. I don't know what his price would be, but I think he'd be a lot more talked about and owned in this scenario at this course specifically, where he's already got a top 5 and a pretty good open record at this price. Like these guys all want to make a cut, and do they got top 30, top 25 plus upside? And I think he does. So I'll go to Garcia. Gut feel plays of the week. Cam Young, boy. Definitely played him plenty last week. He's one that I do, unlike Mito, where I'm like, all right, is this first time out on this stuff? Did it bother him? I doubt we get him in like a presser or anything. So it's going to be, I don't think he's in my 3 max pool stuff, but I think he's going to be super low now. He's just burned people, for several tournaments now. And so the shine's worn off, that kind of stuff, because he didn't play good at all. 13 overs and 76, 77. Had 1 birdie on Thursday and 1 birdie on Friday. So the only positive was no doubles on there. I don't think maybe one. No, 1 double out of the whole week. So does it make you more positive? Not necessarily. But what I like is I don't know if I like this more or better, but kind of depends on how you think the course winds up playing out, what time we get there. I guess I'd rather see that, because it seems like one shot off, working on things, trying to figure it out, whatever, than, man, he got a birdie, a triple, a birdie, a double, a bogey, double, triple. Those big numbers can be scary, because now he's kind of like Mito, but Mito did it all in 1 round. So a little less confident in him, but at $7,800, especially MME, if I'm maxing the $25 Millie Maker, for instance, or maxing the $5, whatever, and he's going to come in like 3, 4, 5% because of his recent stuff, I'll play him in that, because I don't need him to win, not at that price. And we certainly know his upside. He comes from a teaching, I think his dad's a pro. So I think there's time, and I'm sure he worked on stuff over the weekend. Maybe it's almost better for a guy like him and Mito. They weren't going to be in it. They didn't, make the cut on the number and have to kind of battle through it. Maybe they, reset button, then go play some more Ireland, Scotland, Scottish golf, get with people that's been around it. That kind of stuff could be positive. So a super low on Cam Young, I'll go there. DJ, 9,200. He's probably going to be on my betting card. Actually, he is. Haven't officially made any bet yet, because I try to say waiting on it, but I worry how long the 50-1 number will hang out there. But I like his price. He's been playing good. He looked good. I watched a lot of the last live. His iron play looked good. He was obviously, I think he was leading this tournament in 2015 through 36. I think he didn't have a good weekend. I think he shot 75 or something like that. But, what's his, he's 9th, 54th, miscut, 51st, 8th. I don't remember what he finished in 2015, but he's a guy, just because I think he'll be lower owned than he should at that price. I definitely, he's a gut feel play to me. Casey, another situation there. Just announced going to the live. Do we get any kind of sign of him? Is he, healthy? Was he ever really hurt that long, or was he just kind of debating mentally on what he was going to do? It's all anecdotal stuff, unless we hear it from him himself. I don't even know if he'll get on. I don't think any of the live guys have been invited to the media center. So, 11th, 51st, 57th, 15th, his last 4 opens. Again, 7,500 though. He's a guy that he could be in the pool. And then Tiger's right there too, 7,500. If you ask me to pick between those two, I probably lean Tiger. He knows this course. He knows it well. He's not going to have to. It actually looks one thing I probably haven't really mentioned, it looks warm there for this time of year. There's not going to be any real, now it's not like here, like right now it's, like 105 with no heat index. We're on the verge of bad heat streak, potentially like 20, 25 straight days of 100 degrees more, maybe record breaking next week. So no, it's not, but it doesn't look like it's going to be any of that super cold early morning. If you happen to get that draw or whatever, we have to worry about that. So that I like, and kind of see where his tee times are. Maybe he gets middle type deal. And I think that's more advantageous. I think he makes the cut. It's just, does he have the upside to go? I guess the one concern for me would be with that leg and stuff is, man, if he gets, and we know his game plan always here, he talks about it is, I'm going to do what I can to avoid those bunkers. I don't care. I'm going to take those out of play and then go from there. I'm sure he can still do that. But if he gets in one that has a weird ass lie, could it be bad enough with, because he, say you got to try to get on that right, I think it's left leg, whatever it is, typically would be no problem, but potentially just like kill his tournament right there. That would be the biggest worry for him. Like I won't flirt with him. I don't think in like a 3 max or anything, but see how his ownership's looking. But I don't mind getting overweight on some Tiger, and I still don't mind Casey. I think it's a toss. If I knew Casey was healthy and there was like no good, I would say him. Tiger, we know what it is. It's like, can he just get through it? I don't think it's going to be anything like it was PGA Championship. Yeah, I remember I was there that Saturday, and and I was there Tuesday at the practice round, and I'm talking it was like 105 or it was like 97 and very, very warm Tuesday to like I'm talking freezing cold Saturday. And so I think that had more to do with Tiger, the cold stuff. And so seeing that St. Andrews may be warm, I kind of like that for him as well. And then a last gut feel potentially be Brooks. Brooks played well here in 2015. He's the one I don't like the most just because he hadn't shown any form. But if he's going to be like 2 or 3%, hey, if I'm maxing the $5, I may take 2x, 3x the field there and take my shot there. Betting top 5 of the pop and 2 long shots provided by Prize Picks. Link is in the description. $1 for $1 match up to $100. I give away my round 1 plays on the pod Wednesday. We won them last week, and then I give them away at night for each of the other rounds. Use the code GUP. Click that link in the description. Get your free $100 if you deposit $100. And we'll have NFL stuff, all college football stuff all throughout as well. NASCAR, we do now, UFC, all those guys post their thoughts each and every week, and either in Slack or in their article. So we made some money there. My top 5 bets, ironically, 4 of them are right around that 50-1 number right now. Finau, DJ, Neiman, and Matsu. Matsu with a good finish here in 2015 as well. And then the next one, I'm going to see where the kind of steam and everything goes. Fitz, Willie Z, and Cantlay are all that 22 to 35-ish number, 30 number. And I don't think they'll all stay there. I think someone will get pushed out, and maybe it's someone else. I don't think it'll be maybe Kim Smith. All those guys are in that low 20s to almost 30, and I like a lot of those guys that if I see a good number there, those are guys I'm looking for. Obviously, I'll have my card out. It'll be later than normal because again, I want to make sure we get the best chance at the weather and all that. I got 3 long shots this week. Normally I have 2, but I'll do like Cam Young 100-1. I may just do like a top 20 on him or something. Mito 100-1. Haotong 150. I like that number a lot. Top 20 there could be nice. Like I said, final thoughts will be out Wednesday. We'll have E9 live with Kenny Kim, probably early evening Wednesday. Give you guys plenty of time to build. Don't forget, British, 30% off, free trial, 7-day free trial. You get everything free this week with that code. Then your percentage is locked in for life. So if you use the code, you stick around and you want to upgrade later to an annual or something like that, you can use that. I mean, you auto upgrade in our system and it gives you 30% off any package you ever have for life. So that's awesome as well. Looking forward to this week. A lot to digest, a lot to kind of get through as we get to Wednesday night. But I love it. Final week of the year. Looking forward to it. Hope you guys have a blessed Monday. I will have a lot of stuff out a little earlier tonight. Then I'm out pretty much all day tomorrow, traveling and all that. Then back Wednesday, wrap up some things, and let's have a good week. Have a good Monday. Talk to you later.